Criminals are often very dangerous individuals. But what about stupid criminals? There are plenty of genius criminals possessing IQs high enough to commit perfect crimes. Then there are those criminals whose stupidity leaves you wondering, how in the world have they survived this long? Dumb criminals are just as dangerous, if not more so, because they might end up hurting themselves or someone else. However, thanks to their stupidity, they get caught by the police and thrown in jail. I'm Mike with List 25, and here are 25 stupid criminals who got caught for ridiculous reasons.
#25.
Christopher Wilson thought that he had organized the perfect crime when he entered a home improvement store in Washington to steal the goods he desired, but he wasn't all that careful. Apparently, Wilson had accidentally dropped his bottle of methamphetamines during his lame attempt at committing a crime, and with his name and phone number for the clerks and police officers to discover.
24.
An 18-year-old named Steven Diaz from Pasadena, California wanted to have drinks with friends and passed by Vaughn's supermarket to shoplift a bottle of wine. As the teen tried to get away from the shop, he punched a security guard and dropped his wallet, ID, and the wine. Of course, he was easily tracked down by the police and arrested shortly after his stupid action.
23.
A really weird dude once raided a house in Texas at 4 in the morning, and naturally scared the hell out of the owner, who fled, immediately calling the police. When the officers arrived on the scene, they couldn't believe their eyes. They were surprised to find that the intruder hadn't stolen or broken a thing other than the door, and that all he wanted was apparently a warm bath.
22.
A con artist specializing in producing counterfeit money and false documents was really unhappy with the new printer he bought from a Target in Augusta, Georgia, so he decided to take it back and ask for a different one. His demand was satisfied, but unfortunately the clerk noticed some work the customer forgot to remove from the old printer. A few counterfeit bills that, of course, cost him his freedom.
21.
3 would-be British thieves tried way too hard to wrap chains around an ATM that held $31,000, 20,000 pounds, and with the help of a car, they tried to carry the whole thing away. Unfortunately for them, the chains didn't hold and were left behind with the car's rear bumper and license plate, leaving the thieves to drive off empty-handed and easily traced by the officers who arrested them shortly after.
20.
The residents of the Woodland Heights area of Houston were terrorized by a man who had been repeatedly going to the bathroom in their yards, leaving quite the mess behind. For that reason, one of them placed a camera in a nearby tree to catch the suspect in action. An older, bald-headed man with a funny mustache and tight shorts was busted on camera entering one bathroom after another in the neighborhood, leaving a huge mess that he didn't bother to clean up.
19.
When police arrested 18-year-old Benjamin C. Hopp, he only had on a sweatshirt, red boxers, and a white sock on his left foot. Why? A few hours earlier, he had broken into the home of an old, fat bartender who wrestled the kid to the ground and made him cry before he squirmed out of his shoes and pants and ran from the house. Hopefully, he learned his lesson and will do the right thing from now on.
18.
A teen accused of multiple counts of doing graffiti in San Diego was arrested for vandalism after he allegedly tagged the inside of the San Diego Superior Court. The tag led investigators right to his location. The teen, who pled not guilty, had even left his mark in the same courtroom he was prosecuted in. What can you say? The boy's an artist, and the world is his canvas.
17.
One day, Justin Stansfield, a British heroin addict and thief, broke into a garage to steal valuable items so he could sell it and buy his next fix. While in the garage, he found a freezer full of cold beers and popsicles. He decided to have some fun instead. He took out his fake teeth to enjoy a couple of popsicles after he downed a few beers. But before he left, he forgot to put his teeth back in. This dumb act cost him 16 months behind bars.
16.
Graham Price of South Wales was a hard-working and honest employee who couldn't hide how grateful he was to his bosses, even when he decided to rip off the bank where he worked. So, before he stole the money he needed, he made sure to leave a note with his signature explaining, "Borrowed £7 million. Thank you."
15,
At a bus stop in St. Paul, Minnesota, Justin John Bowden, a hot-tempered man, was involved in an argument with a woman whom he cowardly punched in the face. He also attacked another person who was standing there, which caused him to drop his folder on the ground. He didn't retrieve the folder before he fled. The cops, who arrived at the scene a few minutes later, easily tracked Bowden thanks to what was inside his folder: his anger management homework.
14,
What if I told you a thief got caught because he forgot to take the money he was supposed to steal? A gunman once broke into a convenience store in Indiana, tied up the cashier, and fled, but he left behind the money. When he realized his mistake, he went back. Unfortunately for him, by that time the door had automatically locked, with the loot just sitting there staring at him as the police arrested him.
13,
One of the most unusual and comical criminal cases I've ever heard about occurred in Hickory, North Carolina. A totally amateur thief invaded Captain's Galley restaurant and picked up the cash register, but didn't notice a little detail: a trail of white cash register tape hanging from the machine. The police followed it 50 yards to his apartment, finding him cracking open the register.
12,
This is one of those cases where you aren't sure how to properly respond to what you hear, whether you should laugh about the criminal's stupidity or feel sad for his young son. Apparently, this idiotic thief decided to take his son along when he robbed a pet shop, but he was so busy counting the money that he totally forgot about his son, whom he left behind. All police officers had to do after that was ask the child for the name of his idiotic father.
11,
Scottish shoplifter Aaron Morrison might be one of the silliest thieves in history. After Morrison stole a bottle of vodka from a liquor store, he had the nerve to flirt with the shop clerk and give her his name and number. Well, let's just say it didn't take Sherlock Holmes to trace his whereabouts after that.
10,
A thief in Portland, Oregon broke into a house, went through every inch of the property, opened all the drawers, and stole everything of value he could find, without leaving any fingerprints. However, what appeared to be almost the perfect robbery was ruined when the thief grabbed a container of orange juice from the refrigerator and took a gulp directly from it, leaving it in the sink. The container was sent straight to the DNA testing unit at the Oregon State Crime Lab in Clackamas, where forensic scientists found a match. Christopher Lathrop quickly confessed after he was arrested and will probably never drink orange juice again.
9,
Mark Moore, a 57-year-old man from Richmond, California, is a serial bike thief. After investigating Moore's home, they found he had been systematically stealing bikes, bike equipment, and a few other things. The list included 10 bicycles, 57 bicycle tires, 24 bicycle wheels, 21 bike seats, 4 bicycle frames, a gun, and ammunition. How did he get caught? He tried to sell a bike online, through Craigslist, to the person he had stolen it from without even knowing it.
8,
In 2012, a young boy from Jenkins, Kentucky, named Michael Baker, decided to get his small town in the national headlines. What did he do, you ask? Well, after he siphoned gas from a local police car, he posed next to it with a smile, while also proudly giving the finger for the camera, and then posted the photo on Facebook. The photo went viral with thousands of views, but a couple days later the police knocked on his door and arrested him.
7,
Polish author Christian Bala became a victim of his own arrogance and delusion when he thought he was above the law. After brutally murdering Dariusz Januszewski in 2000 and getting away with it, he decided to write a novel named Amok that included a ridiculously similar murder to the one he was involved in 3 years before. The case was reopened, and after a detailed investigation, he surrendered and confessed.
6,
John Pierce, a 32-year-old British wannabe thief, realized too late that a daylight burglary requires natural athleticism, and more specifically, climbing skills. Are you wondering how he came to this conclusion? Poor John tried to break into a house by climbing through the window, but his foot got caught, leaving his backside dangling in view of passers-by on the busy sidewalk. Eventually, the police arrived and he was arrested, but not before being ruthlessly humiliated and mocked by the pedestrians who couldn't resist laughing at and joking about his situation.
5,
A 56-year-old Swedish woman made one of the most ludicrous claims you will ever hear in your lifetime. What did she say? During her trial for drunk driving, she claimed that the alcohol could not affect her driving because she kept one eye open to avoid seeing double. The judges laughed and sentenced her to 2 months in prison.
4,
What would you think if you saw a man who drives a Hummer applying for welfare? Wouldn't you think it a little fishy and suspicious? This is exactly what was going through the local sheriff's mind in Jonesville, Virginia, when he saw William Anderson driving his H2 Hummer to social services to apply for welfare. After the sheriff checked the car's plates, he found out what he suspected. The vehicle was stolen, and the clueless thief was arrested.
3,
Anthony Garcia, a Los Angeles gang member, killed an innocent person during a robbery that took place in a liquor store, but he got away with it simply because there wasn't enough evidence against him. However, only 4 years later, Garcia was arrested for driving with a suspended license, and the policeman noticed an unusual tattoo on his chest while taking his mugshot. After examining it and paying attention to its details and symbols, the police realized that Garcia had tattooed the crime scene on himself with every little detail. Needless to say, justice was finally served.
2,
Mark Smith thought he was Britain's baddest thief when he broke into Heather Stevenson's home, while she was there ironing, to steal all he could from her jewelry box. But unfortunately for this genius, the vodka and Valium he had taken earlier took its toll. As a result, Smith took a nap as a free man under Heather's bed and woke up several hours later behind bars.
1,
Fort Myers Beach, Florida can be proud of producing the worst and possibly funniest amateur American criminal who ever lived. Christopher Kron created his own personal legend when he tried to rob a closed restaurant. First, he tripped the alarm when he broke in. He didn't listen to or just didn't care about the non-silent alarm. When ADT called the restaurant after receiving the alarm signal, Kron answered the phone and, pay attention here, gave the ADT employee his real name. When he finally decided to leave, all he took was a bottle of Grand Marnier and a beer. So you probably think that was the end of it, right? Well, there's more. Believe it or not, Kron managed to get away with his illegal act, but made sure to return to the restaurant the next day, where an employee who had seen the surveillance video recognized him. Kron was arrested. If there were an award for the dumbest criminal in history, he would be a very serious contender. So, who's the dumbest criminal you've ever heard of? Let us know in the comments below, or tweet your answer to us at List25. Enjoying our lists? Be sure to click that subscribe button on the bottom right and the notification bell so you don't miss out on new ones every Monday through Friday. Share them with your friends and help us consistently conciliate curiosity. And if you want even more lists, check out these videos here or just head to our website at list25.com. While you're there, make sure to join our newsletter for exclusive lists, prizes, and so much more. You really don't want to miss out on this.